2 weekends ago, the DOJ dropped millions upon millions of Epstein files, and the internet has gone absolutely wild, going through every single file, combing through names, combing through scenarios, combing through email threads. There has been a lot that has been revealed by through these files, and including the photos, the videos, the official correspondence, the official communication between agencies. It's been wild, and there's one thing that I wanna talk about that has been surfaced that's been a discrepancy about Epstein's death, and I think we all shared this, like, shared disbelief when we learned that Jeffrey Epstein was gone and that he apparently did it himself. I don't think anybody truly believed, and if they did, if I think they were in the minority that he would do that to himself because of everything he was just suspected of being connected to, the politicians and the high ranking this and that. He was in high society. So I thought that this was an incredible revelation. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So if you guys remember, back August 10th, 2019, you probably remember where you were when you found out that Jeffrey Epstein was gone, that he had did it to himself, in his jail cell. And I think, again, once again, I don't, I think you were in the minority if you truly believed the official story that he did it to himself. And I think that this revelation, it says a lot. It says a lot. I don't know what's going on. I don't know um if Epstein is truly in like some sort of program, which is something that I'm starting to believe. I just didn't know what to believe. But I think I'm leaning towards that idea. I'm not saying that for fact. I don't know that for fact. I don't have any well, other than the context that I'm going to present here, but the fact that the office of the SDNY, the attorney's office, released the statement August 9th, 2019. That's what is dated. It's highlighted right here. That Jeffrey Epstein had died. Okay. So you see it here, August 9th, 2019, for immediate release. Statement of Manhattan U.S. Attorney on the death of defendant Jeffrey Epstein. Manhattan U.S. Attorney Jeffrey, as Berman said earlier this morning, the Manhattan Correctional Center confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein, who faced charges brought by the Office of engaging in ST wording of minors, had been found unresponsive in a cell and pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Today's events are disturbing, and we're deeply aware of their potential to present yet another hurdle of giving Epstein's many victims their day in court. To those brave young women who have already come forward, and to the many others who have yet to do so, let me reiterate that we remain committed to standing for you in our investigation of the conduct charged in the indictment, which included a conspiracy count, remains ongoing. We continue to urge anyone who feels that they may be a victim or have information related to the conduct of this case to please contact 1-800-CALL-FBI. How can this happen? How can this happen? You tell me how this can happen. Okay. There's just so many discrepancies about Jeffrey Epstein and surrounding his death. Okay. I just don't see, this is the Southern District of New York. I get it. Like, everybody makes mistakes, but you can't make this mistake. You can't make this mistake. Now I wanted to go to the Daily Mail because it was the correctional facility, the prison records, that actually accounts for Epstein when he died. Now, one thing that I concern myself over before I kind of get to these details, one thing that I concern myself over is that the attorney's office of the SDNY has yet to issue any statement, any sort of acknowledgement, retraction, correction, anything, which is like, what do you mean? This is major. You have a statement issued August 9th, 2019. And when we visit the details, it actually says prison records by the official accounts show Epstein was not discovered unresponsive until the morning. Until the morning. That's the major thing right there. Until the morning of August 10th, 2019, when a corrections officer delivered breakfast, found him in a cell in the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. So how is this so? It's either a typo, or there's a major discrepancy here. Okay. There has been no, not at least at this point, there has been no statement acknowledging this error, this discrepancy. I'm just going to call it a discrepancy. I don't know that it's an error because it could be intentional. Okay. These were the pictures that were found in his cell or whatever. Okay. So I wanted to remind you guys of this detail here. So remember that Wired published this particular article last summer, where they actually went through the raw Epstein prison videos, and they did like a forensic investigation on this video, like a digital investigation, and they found that approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds were removed. One of the two stitched together clips. The cut starts right at the missing minute. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen this article or if I'm reminding you of these details, but I think that this reading this today makes a little sense. Newly uncovered metadata reveals that nearly 3 minutes of footage were cut from the U.S. Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation, described as full raw surveillance video from the only functioning camera near Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell the night before he was found dead. The video was released last week as part of the Trump administration's commitment to fully investigate Epstein's 2019 death, but instead has raised new questions about how the footage was edited and assembled. Wired previously reported that the video had been stitched together in Adobe Premiere Pro from two video files. So this is how detailed that this investigation got down to. They knew the editing software. That's what? The metadata. They went through the metadata so closely that they traced it back to the editing software. To me, that's insane. Okay. There's the abilities to do that. So it was stitched together in Adobe Premiere Pro from two video files contradicting the Justice Department's claim that it was raw footage. Now, further analysis. So just let me recap what happened. So they released the footage as part of transparency, and as part of that transparency, they did a forensic on it, and they were like, this isn't raw footage. This is two stitched together clips. Now, further analysis shows that one of the source clips was approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds longer than the segment included in the final video, indicating that footage appears to have been trimmed before release. It's unclear what, if anything, the minutes cut from the first clip showed. Nearly 3 minute discrepancy may be related in the widely reported 1 minute gap between 11:58 and 12 a.m. that Attorney General Pam Bondi was attributed to a nightly system reset. The metadata confirms that the first video file, which shows footage from August 9th, 2019, continued for several minutes beyond what appears in the final version of that video, and was trimmed at 11:58 p.m. mark, right before the jump to midnight. Oh, I think geez. I Um, right before the jump to midnight. So it started August 9th. The footage started August 9th and trimmed to the 11:58 PM mark, right before the jump to midnight, August 9th. The statement was dated August 9th. Okay, then continue. The cut to the first clip doesn't necessarily mean that there is an additional time accounted for. The second clip picks up at midnight, which suggests that the two would overlap, nor does it prove that the missing minute was cut from the video. The footage was released at a moment of political tension. Trump allies had spent months speculating about the disclosure of explosive new evidence about Epstein's death. But last week, the DOJ and FBI issued a memo stating that no incriminating client list exists, reaffirmed the government's longstanding conclusion that Epstein, whom the U.S. government accused of committing conspiracy to ST-word minors and ST-word minors self-deleted himself. That announcement triggered immediate backlash from the pro-Trump influencers and media figures who essentially accused the administration of a cover-up. And you know what? Even to this point, nobody, like the client list thing, I can tell you, like, okay, I don't want to cross hairs right now, but let me finish up my thought with this, and then I'll give you my next thought that I was about to get into. So, with all this being said, this right here, the footage being cut and so close to midnight on August 9th, and then there being this, this Southern District of New York letter that was issued August 9th, 2019, I think there's some pathology there. I don't know. That's my thought. Now, this is my next thought. I'm just kind of going to wrap up with that. Now, from this, I think I'm more led to believe that Jeffrey Epstein is in witness protection mode. I think so. I think that's my personal opinion. I have no proof of that. I have no proof of that. I have no, other than what I see here, the discrepancies, that's all I can say. I believe that he might be in witness protection. That's that. Like that's what I believe. Um, and this is why I think it's important to slow down on these files. There's people are going through the files really, really quickly and jumping to conclusions. And I want to put in some due diligence to really go through the files, understand what the email threads are saying, what what the context is. I want to understand, the photos and the things that they're talking about, because people are just like going wild online right now. So I think it's important to slow down. And the reason why is because, yes, there's millions of files that were released, millions of files, but part of the millions of files are tips that were sent to the FBI, and not all of those tips are legitimate. They're not. Not all of them are legitimate. I have a lot of questions. I do, like, the bizarre nature of Epstein and his clients and the activities of his clients and Epstein and his world is so strange enough. I don't need fabricated conspiracies. I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I just I just want to get to what we can see and when we can research around that. You know what I mean? But fabricating these wild, like, conspiracies is not going to help in this particular case. I don't think. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about these survivors. You know, um, I saw that they had like a Super Bowl ad that was made, or it was like a Super Bowl ad during the Super Bowl or something like that they released online, something to that matter. And it was like this dramatic ad with the Epstein survivors. And, they were like basically saying that they shouldn't be forgotten, or like to end exploitation, which a message is what everybody agrees with, by the way. But I have a lot of questions about some of the survivors. because it's like that's like millions paid for that ad, and it's like, who's paying for that? Who is paying for that? And the Epstein survivors have gotten together themselves and said that they were going to release some client list. You know what I mean? So this is why I want to go slow. I just have a lot of questions from different perspectives. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go slow. I'm going to keep examining these things. I'm going to take my time with it. I'm not going to rush. And yeah, I'm going to ask my questions. So I appreciate you guys so much. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.